way, I feel like this is maybe a bit of a rock version of Abba. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special weekend in which I get to hear for the first time what I have just learned was one of America's most beloved rock bands' journey. Well, I understand that they were formed in '73 by former members of Santana, which I've heard one of their pieces, Black Magic Woman, so a slight connection there. And of course, Journey being such a popular band, they sold millions of albums and, of course, all the accolades that came with that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and so on and so forth. Now is my turn to get to hear them. Solid start. I just noticed something in this first opening, which, of course, my first time hearing it, I didn't know, but I want to go back and hear that intro again because they did something really nice here. That's the close thing. So this bum, bum, bum. I didn't know, but it shows up in the verse. Worlds apart, hearts broken in two, and then reaching for you. It becomes a musical feature where here in the intro, it feels more like a kind of just a kind of moment of relaxation before we dive into the music. It didn't really catch me as being a musical feature, so I love the way it surprised me as being, oh wow, that is a significant part of the piece when we get into it. And then I thought it was filler, but not so. It even features in the opening. Not part of the melody itself, but here it comes underneath the melody. Between confusion and pain, distant eyes One of the things that's intriguing me about that particular little musical figure, bum, bum, bum. I mean, it's so ordinary, isn't it? What fascinates me and attracts me to it in this piece is that it is being used in kind of, we could say, at least two different ways, if not three. Clearly two. Two, it's being used as a sort of musical figure that serves more as accompaniment and foundation over which the melody is working. Dum, da, da, dum. When the verse begins, here we stand, you can hear it underneath that. Dum, bum, bum. It's as if that's the accompaniment to here we stand, worlds apart. Nothing at all to do with the melody itself. And as I said in the introduction, it feels like filler when we get to it in the intro. You know how rock music does. You get this catchy little riff, and they play around with it in the intro, and then it kind of calms down and settle into a groove, a sort of that's the point at which nothing really outstanding is happening. It's just setting us up for when the voice comes in. That's what it was doing there. Just the filler, the setting. Bum, 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 as the drums and bass are chugging away and everything's getting ready for the voice to enter. And as the voice enters, suddenly it becomes the accompaniment or the counterpart to what's happening in the melody. We could say that's two different things, or we could lump it all into one big lump of how it's working in the music there. But if we were to lump it together, I would say it's clearly non-melody, non-attention grabbing material. It's just there to support, to fill, to prepare. But then it switches roles so smoothly, so seamlessly, and becomes the melody. Two, 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 you. And, the piece goes on. It shows up again. Pain, 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 vein, vein, vein. It's such, I mean, you can't sing that without singing that part, right? So it's exclusively, securely in the melodic category there. And I don't very often hear a piece of music that takes a little bit of musical material, we could call it a motif if we want, and uses it in two such distinctive ways that work so well. But this does. Well, that's not even talking about this wonderful energy and kind of get you in the mood, get you in the groove pulse that's going on with the drums and the bass and the instrumentation of it. It's really a nice feeling piece of music. I can see why if this is the band's sound, it would appeal to a lot of people.
If you must go, I wish you love. You'll never walk alone. Take care, my love. Miss you, love. Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you. One night will remind you how we touched our way in our separate ways. If he ever hurts you, true love won't desert you. You know I'll still love you.
In a way, I feel like this is maybe a bit of a rock version of Abba, perhaps. Meaning, it has the same sort of positive, upbeat vibe quality to the music, and it's dealing with similar subject matter. Here we stand, worlds apart, hearts broken in two. At the same time, it's handling it in a similar way. If we can't go on to survive the tide, someday love will find you. break those chains that bind you. And one night will remind you how we touched and went our separate ways. It's talking about the separation in a sort of hopeful, comforting way. Like, this is not the end, dear. This is you know, we couldn't make it work. Caught between confusion and pain, distant eyes, promises we made in vain. But if you go, I wish you love. You'll never walk alone. Take care, my love. Miss you, love. Isn't it sweet the way and I feel like the few pieces of Abba that I've listened to, while much less rocky, have kind of the same bittersweet care for the other, but at the same time, we just can't make it work out. Feel. That's why I say this is a rock version of Abba.
True love won't desert you. You know I'll still love you. Though we don't start away our separate ways.
I almost thought I would have to go back to the beginning to hear this little bit of intro material and compare it with the guitar, but it's right here. Nice. All right. So we have dum, bum, bum, right. It's a simple step up motion. Now let's listen to the guitar here. Dum, bum, 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 bum. A little bit more, moving upwards a bit more, a little bit different rhythm. But I feel like he's taking this intro here. And using that as kind of the starting point for his solo material. Don't you hear some similarities there? All right, going on. Love the way those drums go. Also, it's nice the way we have this very well balanced, shall I say, answer, musical shape, because we have this dum bum bum, and then dum bum bum bum, which we're hearing in the melody and the guitar. But then, bang, 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 the dum, bum, bum, moving down. So we have some moving up, some moving down. And I notice even here, continuing that balanced approach, listen up high. Moving down, way up there, to contrast with what's happening underneath, moving upwards.
Someday love will find you. Break those chains that bind you.
It's the hope.
One night will remind you. If he ever hurts you, true love won't desert you. You know I still love you.
I can't help it. I can't help it. Commenting more on the shape that I'm finding in this piece. So we have this climbing up, dum bum bum in the intro, and then the bum, bum, bum at the closing, which I already talked about how that's used, and then the upwards motion in the guitar solo in the melody. Now here in this chorus part, true love won't desert you. It's kind of an inverted form of that, right? Instead of up and then down, now we have true love won't desert you. It's down and up, makes the V shape rather than the A shape. And it's kind of fun to just notice all the little details of how this piece is put together, what makes it feel so nice along the way.
You know I still love you.
The triplets
I
there.
still love you, girl.
Moving upwards here and back down. Kind of the guitar solo there again. That was nice that the voice went up and then down. Triplets putting on the brakes again. And it ends on the upwards moving motif with that no at the end. I feel like this, the best comparison I could make would be to Abba. The same hopefulness, the same upbeat, positive quality, even in the middle of pain and struggle and disappointment and confusion. And I can just imagine, you know, some young person back in the 70s listening to this as they're navigating their first loves and losses in life and just turning this on and immersing themselves in the feel of it and getting lost in it and absorbing the message as well, which is very true. And at the same time, so incredibly comforting to somebody when they're getting their first taste of this world and this life. You know, the teens, the early 20s. Wouldn't that be such a great way to just comfort yourself when you need it? Well, as I said, this is a special weekend, and so I'm going to continue this journey into Journey tomorrow with another one of their songs. I don't know what it is. It's going to be fun to compare and contrast and also get a bit more familiar with, okay, this sound that I heard here, is this the classic Journey sound? Or do they have surprises in store for me? What am I going to hear this weekend? All of that is going to be fun to discover tomorrow. But I have to say, for my first introduction, I enjoyed it. The music feels good. The music feels, it feels positive. It feels rewarding, satisfying. And the sound, the guitar, the drums, the bass, the voice, they all work so well together. Nothing stands out as being particularly strange or unexpected, or there's no outstanding glaring weakness. They are really strong together as a unit. And so that's what I hear. And I'm going to explore, I'm going to see where this takes me further tomorrow. But a great first exposure to the band. I'll see you next time.